My name is Alina. I was 22 when I moved into my husband's luxurious estate after our arranged marriage. Back then, people used to say I was stunning. My beauty often made heads turn. Before marriage, suitors would line up with proposals, but my dad had dreams of me becoming a doctor. Being their only child, I was torn between fulfilling his wish and the constant pressure from my mother to settle down early. Eventually, my mom took matters into her own hands. She visited some spiritual guru. Yes, one of those fix your destiny for $50 types, and came back with a charm that supposedly softened my dad's stubborn heart. Just a few days later, he agreed to my marriage with the son of his wealthy business friend. The only catch was, I'd be allowed to continue my medical studies even after marriage. So I packed my dreams and stepped into a mansion that seemed straight out of a movie. My husband Derrick ran a multinational business and was barely home. Our place? A stunning standalone property in the suburbs, staffed with housemaids and one male helper, Derrick. He was about 19, tall, strong, and had that rough charm that some girls would probably swoon over. But not me. Or at least, that's what I thought back then. The day after our wedding night, I was completely exhausted. As I lay on the bed, Derrick knocked and entered, without being invited, which honestly startled me.
Miss Alina, you must be tired after last night. If you don't mind, I could give you a foot massage.
He said softly. I was shocked. I had never even allowed a male friend to touch me before. Why would I let a servant do that? I flatly refused and asked him to leave. He quietly left without another word. But something about the way I reacted started bothering me. I mean, maybe he didn't mean any harm. Maybe this was just how things worked in such big households. That night, I couldn't sleep. The next day, Derrick offered again. This time I was sore from standing all day, and after a moment of hesitation, I let him massage my feet. His touch was gentle, professional, and oddly relaxing. I felt drowsy, and eventually fell asleep right there on the bed. When I woke up, he was still there, silently pressing my feet. I felt guilty, so I offered him money. But he said something that lingered with me.
Miss Alina, please don't insult me by offering cash. I'm well paid. Let me earn your comfort some other way.
I tried insisting, saying it was for his hard work. He hesitated, then finally accepted it with a small smile and walked out. Over the next few days, Derrick became a constant presence in my life, especially during evenings when Derrick was still at work. He'd quietly knock, offer to massage my feet, and leave once I dozed off. His massages began to feel like therapy, relieving, calming. Then one day, he casually mentioned,
Your mother-in-law asks for massages too sometimes.
That struck me. My mother-in-law, Margaret, always kept to herself. She never seemed the type. Still, I couldn't shake off what he said. I'd been in the house for nearly a month and had started observing the help more closely. The maids were gossipy and unreliable, always eavesdropping and spreading stories around the neighborhood. But Derrick, he seemed honest. I became curious, maybe a bit too curious. The next day, I asked Margaret if she needed help with anything. She declined rather coldly. That night, I noticed Derrick slipping into her room. The door shut quietly behind him. My suspicions grew stronger. I needed answers. I spoke to one of the housemaids, Rachel. At first, she was reluctant, but eventually admitted,
Mom, I've seen your mother-in-law call Derrick into her room often. She shuts the door behind them every time. I don't know what's happening, but something's weird.
That evening, I confronted Derrick in my room. Tell me the truth. What exactly do you do in her room? He hesitated, then whispered,
Miss Alina, I swear I only massage her like I do for you. But she talks a lot. She's always telling me about how lonely she feels in this house. She makes me promise not to tell anyone.
His voice was trembling. He looked scared. I decided to check for myself. That night, I hid near her door. Sure enough, Derrick entered, and the door shut. I waited a while, then gently pushed it open just a crack. What I saw surprised me. Not in a scandalous way, but in a deeply emotional one. Margaret was sitting on the bed, crying, while Derrick gently massaged her back. "You're the only one who listens," she sobbed. "This house is full of people, yet I feel invisible." I closed the door quietly and walked away stunned. The next morning, I couldn't shake off what I'd seen. Margaret wasn't some cold-hearted woman seducing the help like my imagination had feared. She was just broken, lonely, and maybe so was I. I tried talking to her during breakfast. "Mom, you okay? You seem tired." She looked up, surprised. Maybe no one had asked her that in a long time.
"I'm fine, dear,"
she said, forcing a smile. But her eyes told another story. That woman was holding years' worth of pain inside. That same day, I called Derrick. "When are you coming home?"
I told you, babe, business trip. Be back in 2 weeks.
He said casually, as if it didn't matter that he'd missed our first-month anniversary, or that we barely spent time together since the wedding. "You could have told me earlier," I muttered, feeling abandoned.
You'll manage. You've got help around, right?
He said, then ended the call before I could respond. He wasn't wrong. I had help, but I didn't have him. Not emotionally, not physically, not even in spirit. That night, I didn't wait for Derrick. I called him into the room myself. He entered with his usual quiet presence. As he began massaging my feet, I asked, "Do you like working here?" He looked at me, unsure of how to respond. "I've worked in worse places." "That's not what I asked," I said gently. He paused. "No, not really, but I like taking care of you. You don't treat me like I'm invisible." There was a long silence. The air between us had changed. The next day, I asked Rachel to give me more details about Derrick. I needed to know who he really was. "He's not just a helper," she said in a whisper. "His family was once close to yours. He's working here to support his younger sister's education. But there's more. I've seen your mother-in-law give him expensive gifts, watches, clothes. She trusts him more than her own son." That added another layer to everything. I decided to speak to Margaret. "Mom, I want to talk." She sighed. "About Derrick?" I nodded. "I know how it looks," she said. "But after my husband died, I had no one. Derrick left home early and never looked back. Derrick. He reminded me of someone I used to know. He listens. He doesn't judge." I couldn't help but ask, "Do you feel something more for him?" She looked at me, eyes suddenly sharp.
"Careful, Alina. Don't confuse compassion with desire. And maybe you should ask yourself, why are you so curious about him?"
That question shook me. Why was I so curious? That evening, I stood in front of the mirror brushing my hair. Derrick knocked softly and entered. This time, he didn't offer a massage. He just stood there, watching me with eyes full of something I couldn't name. "You've changed," he said. "How? You don't look like a princess trapped in a castle anymore. You look like someone ready to break the walls." The words hit me deeper than they should have. Without thinking, I walked up to him. "Do I scare you?" He smiled barely. "Yes, and no." And then I did something I shouldn't have. I touched his face, just gently. But the spark was real, for both of us. We didn't speak. He just left the room without another word. But the silence spoke louder than anything.